Hey everybody, it's Ed, and the future is now. And the future is going up into space and coming down from the lack of fuel. All right? But luckily, we had a soft landing on space. As far as Tesla's concerned, big news for Tesla. Big news today. That made them super bullish. Bulls have to be loving it today. So, anyway, we will get into the details on what kind of happened. Obviously, we saw the hyperbolic move. We knew it was going to pull back. This was not a mystery. So, we set some stops, some trailing stops early morning today, and I wanted to talk about those. So, I mean, a good day overall, but not super happy. I mean, we could have probably cleared another few K. So, anyway, we'll get into that. So before we get into the details, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification to get any notifications of any stock moves in Tesla or SPCE or any other stocks that we're tracking currently that may help you in your portfolio. So breaking news, my wife sends me a text message. Well, that text message said $1,200 price target increase from $650 from Morgan Stanley for their bullish case. That's pretty huge, and that should definitely, open some people's eyes that there's a lot of room to run for Tesla. So that was super sweet. Obviously, you can see the Tesla broke out like I pretty much predicted it yesterday. I mean, that was almost, clockwork again. Granted, it helped that Morgan Stanley did that. I had no idea they were going to move that price target up today. So you can see it's still in the channel, okay? I mean, I expect it to break up even above the channel. That would be nice, but I mean, it could hang in this channel. It could have a 900 support. Who knows, really? I mean, there's no reason to try to predict this. You can see it's above the 50-day average. We don't have to do much here. I mean, we're in a whole position. We did add shares to Tesla today, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So Tesla up 1260 in after hours at about 7 p.m. I mean, that's pretty strong. That's a good bullish sign too. We could gap up a little bit more tomorrow, or maybe not. I mean, it doesn't really matter on that one. It's just that's a good sign in general. I always keep an eye on the after hours and pre-market trading to see kind of what's going on. So before I get into the SPCE chart, I want to give a big shout out to Blaze Capital. I caught on to the channel and I'm kind of addicted to the channel now. There's a lot of good data information. He does a ton of research. He knows a ton about charting, about technical analysis, and super specific. So, I mean, I'm learning a lot. I consider myself, pretty adept when it comes to investing. But if you want to get into details about options trading and all kinds of detailed ways to put insurance on your purchases of stock and other things, when it comes to putting puts on or, just options trading and just in general research, doing the proper research. So anyway, big shout out to that channel. And I suggest that if you want to follow space, he tracks space every day. Okay, so I see him tracking space probably every day this year. And I will probably be following his channel every day too, just to keep apprised of what's going on. So we're not going into space, we're coming down from space, all right? Or at least temporarily, but we're definitely going back into space sometime. The question is when, okay? You can see by the chart, it waterfalling down today, and then to me, it's like a dead cat bounce situation potentially where it's bouncing down, and it may, if it kicks, the key to me is that $32. I mean, if it kicks above the $32, you may see it break through the moving averages and just blast back up. I mean, I'm not positive on that. I wouldn't bet on that personally, and I'm gonna try to get in at a lower valuation. Okay, potentially. I want to get in. I got tricked out on the stop losses, and I got tricked out at about 32, which is fine because it's pretty much right at that or below it. But anyway, so we booked the gains, and that's what I was upset about. I was a little tight on my actual trailing stops. I had one at 7% and that tricked, and it was like, wow, I didn't quite expect that, but I probably should have set it about 12, maybe even 15% since we were so high on our gains. So I could have let it run and maybe, capitalize on a few more dollars on that before we would have been tricked out at maybe 35 anyway. So if I had to just make a prediction, and you guys know I'm a huge flag fan, okay? My prediction is they formulate a flag. This is another scenario where I can already just mentally see a flag forming. It'll bounce up and down, and break. And when it breaks that flag, it could go, it could go crazy, either way. But there's a lot of stuff going on this week. I mean, obviously we've got earnings, and there's going to be a lot of chaos with the stock this week. So, I mean, it's really hard to predict this stock, what it's going to do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, come on, nobody has a crystal ball on this one. One of the key indicators is volume. You can see on the bottom where I have 6 mil being kind of normal volume, or at least it's gotten into that normal volume in this upswing. And then it was spiking around 35 million in volume. And then Friday it went to 45 million in volume. Did it trade at like 100 million in volume or 16x today? Yikes. Okay, that's crazy. You know that. Now we're learning from those 10x, 8x, 16x, 12x, whatever, to see that those volume amounts cause these massive heads and massive spikes, vertical ups and downs. So after hours, it's up about 80 cents. I mean, it was down about, I think, 30 to 60 cents at one point. And after hours, it dipped a little bit, but it looks like it's charging back up a little. That could be a good sign. I don't know if it's going to gap up or down tomorrow or just basically be flat. There's no way to know that. The one super positive thing, too, is when we did get tricked out of the space, I saw Tesla take a dive down to plus 42, and that's not really much of a dive, but I mean, it bumped down to 42 or even 40, I think, and we snatched up another 20 shares. So it went up about, I don't know, like 16 or $18. So we ended up pulling in another 360 or whatever dollars off of that little mini trade. We can hang on to those now that Tesla's kind of breaking, and then when we need to kind of cash them back out, we can cash them back out and load back up into space. So that's the plan. Once we got to get our gear on, we're going to get our gear on, and we'll have to sell some of our Tesla gear to get some of our space gear, and then get them moving back when it's ready to snatch onto those. But I'll give you a heads up when we snatch onto the more space shares and how many we buy. Now, to wrap it up, I basically wanted to talk about one more thing, and that kind of led that in with the Under Armour boots and everything and gear. Okay, the advertising for this company is going to be stellar. Okay, they're going to generate a ton of money from advertising. Think about every flight. I mean, there's going to be media surrounding everything. And I hadn't really thought about it. One of my subscribers mentioned something. I can't remember who it was offhand. And that's an important thing to think about. The media around there could be big advertising money that could go into this business to their bottom line. I'm not sure how that plays out and what's going on with that advertisement, but I mean, they can have a new sponsor every week with flights or long term, 6 months, years, multiple year contracts. That could push a lot of money into the company for a long term. So remember, the future is now, and the future is electrifying the world and going into space.